strangers on the internet. This is my face reveal video, I suppose. I did record a video for today. Unfortunately, right after I'd finished filming it, I realised that none of it had recorded, which was infuriating. I will show you what I actually did. So originally, this should have been a video about me colouring this picture, but that didn't really work out, unfortunately. But never mind. What I actually wanted to talk about instead was university for a mature student. When I first started university 2 years ago, there was just so much I didn't know, and I suppose I wish someone had told me these things, just so, not to put me off, but just so that I could be prepared for them and I would know what to expect. I wanted to tell you first some of the bad things about being a student. Now, I don't know if a lot of this will apply to everyone. I'm 25, so I'm not a super mature student, but yeah, I'm not really your average 18-year-old. Unfortunately, I keep saying unfortunately. So I am a biology student in my second year at Staffordshire University in merry old England. And I think one of the hardest things is it's quite easy to feel isolated when you're sitting in a room with 120 people and there may be 10 of them who are your age or older, should I say. It can feel quite isolating because you suddenly feel a bit silly. I felt silly. I felt like I was sitting there in a room full of 18-year-olds and didn't really feel like I belonged. One of the hardest things about being a mature student is being poor, because oh my god, I've never felt so poor in my life. I've had a job since I was 16. I worked while I was in college, and then after college I decided I wasn't going to go to university, and I jumped straight into the working world, and I just never looked back, and so I've always had some form of disposable money so I can do what I want. If there's something that I see that I want, I can go and buy it. And not being able to do that anymore. I know it sounds really superficial and really materialistic, but it's hard. It's hard to see your friends who aren't in university because they're the same age as you and they've been to university when they were younger, and then they've got a job and they're established human beings, and you meet them up for a coffee in a coffee shop. You go to Costa and you sit there and you look at your coffee and you're just like, could I really afford this? Did I just spend all of my extra money for the week on a coffee? Now, it isn't to say you can't make money while you're at university. I did originally work at a cinema for a little while, and that was just minimum wage, but it was, a monthly income that I don't have now because I found it very difficult to balance a work life and a university life. So if I had to spare 3 hours a week, rather than going home and doing my reading, I would spend those 3 hours at work making more money, and then come the first exam I would be like, this wasn't worth the 3 hours I didn't study. So yeah, being poor is difficult. It's hard. Not to say I was rich before, I earned enough like any person who has a full-time job. And I think that lack of money can, if you have a partner, my partner supports me, he's wonderful and he works full time, and because he does that I can afford to go to university. Knowing you don't contribute like you used to it's stressful, it's hard, it's a lot of additional pressure. When a person works full time to support you doing something, you have to make sure that what you're doing is worthwhile. So you want to ace every test, and if you don't ace a test or an exam or a piece of coursework, it's easy to feel I suppose like a disappointment. That sounds really awful, I know my partner would never think that of me. He would never be like, oh, she got a 2-1, what a disappointment. He's not like that. But I have to make his time worth it. He's going to work and working hard. If he has to do that and I don't do well, then he's done that all of that hard work for nothing. He supported me for 3 years for nothing. And that's a lot of additional pressure. It depends what kind of person you are. You're either a person who you'll never get over that, or you'll force yourself to, and yeah. I'm a person who really struggled that, particularly in my first year. I would work extra hours because then if I didn't do well, I would be like, oh well, I didn't do great, but I made up extra £100 this month. It's silly. But there are lots of really great things about being a mature student, like really great things. Like I found quite easily that students who were younger than me, because I don't look necessarily 25, and when I started and I was 24, I would be speaking to someone and I'm 5'3", so like I'm quite short as well. So like if I was speaking to someone and because I have quite a light voice, a lot of the time they would just assume that I was the same age as them unless I said, oh, and also I'm 24. Like, and once they knew that, they do sort of look up to you. Like when things aren't going right or they want advice on relationships or holidays or anything like that, they turn to you because you're almost like their surrogate mum, like their older sister, and they just look to you for help, which is nice. It's nice to be able to be a person that can offer someone help like that, because it's nice. It's rewarding. Also, something I think is really helpful is if you've been to work all these years and then you have, I don't know, you've got 6 essays and a project to do and an exam at the end of it, like that can feel really stressful. It can feel like a lot. But then if you've been to work like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday for the past 8 years, then that just feels normal. That just feels like, yeah, that's just what I'm doing today, and like that's just what I have to do. And I think I can't imagine of being able to do that when I was 18. I wasn't good at it. I flaked under pressure. I didn't like it. But now, yeah, it's fine. It's fine to have lots of work to do. I don't worry about it. I also think one of my favourite things about being a mature student is the relationship you build with your tutor. Like my tutor, Ian, he's wonderful. He's really, really helpful. I can sort of speak to him as one adult to another adult. I never feel like he's looking down at me. I always feel like he's like willing to have this conversation with me. For instance, I recently pitched an idea for my 3rd year project to one of my tutors, and he just looked at me and he was like, if you do this project, you're going to handicap yourself and it's up to you if you want to do that. And I just thought, wow, that was really honest. Like, if I had been 18, I don't think he would have been quite as sort of forward with me and been so bold. If I went to an 18-year-old and said, this thing you've been working on, this idea you've got that you've spent like weeks sorting out, it's rubbish, it's not going to work, don't do it. Like, I'm pretty sure any normal 18-year-old would be pretty upset with that. But I was just like, well, that saves me some time, I suppose. Like, I'll just think of something else. So it is nice that you have a different dynamic with your tutor than you do when you're younger. I think as well, being an older student, I don't have time to mess around. I think you have a better grasp on the reality of the situation. When you're younger, there's wiggle room that you don't have as an adult, or I don't have as an adult. I know that this is my last chance to go to university. There isn't a do-over for me. The weight of that alone is enough to drive me to get stuff done. Like when I've got an essay or an assignment I don't want to do, and there are lots of assignments I don't want to do, I don't ninny around with it. I just sort of get it done because it has to be done. Like, this is my last chance. I hope this video hasn't been super depressing. I hope it's meant to be helpful for people who are a little bit older and are going back to university. And I don't want to put you off either. Like, I know it's hard enough already. So yeah, that's where I find it's like to be a mature student. I love it. I'm glad that I did my degree when I'm older and not when I was younger, because I couldn't have coped when I was younger. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was younger, and I'm only just now in a position where I have even an idea what I want to do with my life. So yeah, I hope this is helpful, and I hope it wasn't depressing. And I'm sorry I don't have another art video up for you today. I really wish that I did. But unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, that was not possible. But anyway, if you like this video, please click the like button. If you want to see more of my stupid face, please subscribe. And I will see you next time.